Imagine this. An 11-year-old girl walks into Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom with an attitude strong enough to silence a room full of adults. Her name is Chloe Bennett, and although she isn't the one on trial, everyone can sense the real storm is about to come from her. It's a quiet Wednesday afternoon in Providence Municipal Court, the air filled with paperwork, murmurs, and echoing footsteps, as Judge Caprio sits at the bench with his glasses low, reviewing what appears to be an ordinary case. Laura Bennett, 34, cited for 3 unpaid parking tickets and an expired vehicle registration, nothing that hints at the emotional upheaval ahead. When the bailiff calls the case and the heavy wooden doors open, Laura enters first, tired-eyed in nurse's scrubs that speak of double shifts and skipped meals, her posture burdened by silent struggles and careful steps shaped by a lifetime of apologizing for taking up space. Then comes Chloe, a small hurricane of defiance wrapped in pink, wearing a sleeveless hoodie with the word swag splashed across the front, spotless sneakers, and clutching an orange iPhone as her thumbs race across the screen, earbuds hanging loose with faint video noise playing as she walks in without looking up. Not at the judge, the bailiff, or even her exhausted mother, drawing stares of disbelief from the courtroom while Laura glances back with a wordless plea in her eyes that says, "Please, not today." Chloe doesn't notice anything at all, too absorbed in scrolling, as Judge Caprio studies the scene with the practiced patience of someone trained to see beyond appearances, a weary mother in scrubs and a child dressed like a pop star, feeling the imbalance before a word is spoken. "Miss Bennett, please step forward," he says gently, and Laura nods and moves toward the bench, but before she can speak, Chloe's voice slices through the quiet. "Can we hurry this up? I have plans," freezing the courtroom not just for what she says but how she says it, careless and loud, without even looking up from her iPhone. Laura's face turns crimson as she spins around and whispers, "Chloe, please, not now," while Judge Caprio leans forward, calm but firm, telling the young girl he is speaking to her mother and asking her to wait quietly. Chloe responds with an exaggerated sigh, shifting her weight, eyes still glued to her phone, the sound echoing like an insult as whispers ripple through the gallery. A man crosses his arms, a woman shakes her head, even the bailiff raises an eyebrow, and Judge Caprio says nothing yet, though everyone can feel something is about to change. He allows a long, silent stretch to settle, a stillness that tightens the room, before addressing Chloe again, calm but edged with steel, telling her she has forgotten where she is and who she is speaking about. Chloe finally glances up, the orange glow of her phone reflecting against her cheek, shrugs, and says, "Whatever. My dad's calling me," then answers the call right there in front of the judge, casually greeting her father and complaining about being stuck in court with her mom over parking tickets, so embarrassing, drawing a collective gasp from the room. A collective gasp crashes through the courtroom like a wave, and Officer Daniels, the bailiff, moves on instinct, but Judge Caprio simply raises one hand, steady, deliberate, and orders Chloe to end the call immediately. For the first time her arrogance flickers as she protests that he can't take her phone, bragging that her father is a lawyer and will sue, yet Judge Caprio's expression never changes as he calmly instructs Officer Daniels to collect the phone. Chloe clutches it to her chest, insisting it's illegal, only to hear the judge reply in a quiet, commanding voice, "I can and I will," as the bailiff steps forward. She hesitates, searching her mother's face for rescue, but Laura doesn't look back, standing before the bench with tears pooling in her eyes, and realizing she is alone, Chloe huffs and finally drops the orange iPhone into the officer's hand, muttering that it's unfair, to which the judge replies, "Life often is." Turning back to Laura, Judge Caprio asks if her ex-husband is an attorney, and she nods miserably, explaining that Ethan Cole practices corporate law downtown and is 8 months behind on child support, drawing murmurs from the gallery as the judge notes it down, his expression growing grave. He then observes that despite this, Laura's daughter claimed her father buys her expensive gifts, and Laura nods again, her voice breaking as she explains the designer clothes, jewelry, and new phones every other weekend, admitting she can't compete, just as Chloe snaps that her mother is jealous because her dad upgraded, the words slicing through the room and making Laura flinch as if struck. The crowd reacts audibly with gasps and murmured curses, even Officer Daniels stepping forward again as tension radiates through the room, until Judge Caprio raises his hand once more and silences everything with a single word, "Enough." He fixes Chloe with a look that chills the air and tells her she believes money equals respect and brand names equal worth, warning that she is confusing wealth with value and that life will teach her the difference the hard way if she doesn't learn it now. Chloe stares back, torn between fear and defiance, weakly saying she's just a kid, to which Judge Caprio replies that this is exactly why someone needs to teach her before it's too late. He allows a long, heavy silence to settle over the courtroom, then calmly but firmly reminds her that she has forgotten where she is and who she is speaking about, only for Chloe to glance up, phone in hand, dismissively say her dad is calling, and answer it right there, complaining loudly about being stuck in court over parking tickets. A collective gasp crashes through the courtroom as Officer Daniels moves instinctively, but Judge Caprio again lifts one steady hand and orders her to end the call immediately. Chloe blinks as her arrogance briefly falters, protesting that her father is a lawyer and will sue, while Judge Caprio's expression remains unchanged as he calmly instructs Officer Daniels to collect Miss Bennett's phone, prompting Chloe to clutch it to her chest and insist it's illegal to do so in the courtroom. Judge Caprio replies in a quiet but commanding voice, "I can and I will," as the bailiff steps forward and Chloe hesitates, looking to her mother for rescue, only to find Laura facing the bench with tears pooling in her eyes, refusing to meet her gaze. Realizing she is alone, Chloe huffs and finally drops her orange iPhone into Officer Daniels's hand, muttering that it's unfair, to which the judge calmly responds, "Life often is," before turning back to Laura and asking whether her ex-husband is an attorney. Laura nods miserably, confirming that Ethan Cole practices corporate law downtown, and when asked about child support, she whispers that he is 8 months behind, prompting murmurs of disbelief as Judge Caprio notes it down, his expression growing grave. He then points out that Chloe claimed her father buys her expensive gifts, and Laura nods again, her voice breaking as she explains the designer clothes, jewelry, and new phones every other weekend, admitting she can't compete, when Chloe suddenly snaps that her mother is just jealous because her dad upgraded. The words strike like a blade, making Laura flinch as the crowd gasps and mutters, Officer Daniels stepping forward again with tension radiating from him, until Judge Caprio raises his hand and silences the room with a single word, "Enough." Fixing Chloe with a chilling stare, he tells her she believes money equals respect and brand names equal worth, warning that she is confusing wealth with value and that if she doesn't learn the difference soon, life will teach it to her the hard way, leaving Chloe staring back, caught between fear and defiance, weakly insisting, "I'm just a kid." Tears streak the pink letters on Chloe's hoodie as she buries her face in her hands and the courtroom falls into absolute silence, the weight of the moment settling over everyone, until Judge Caprio leans forward again, his voice softer now, and tells her that before she leaves she owes her mother a real apology, not a whisper or shrug, but one spoken aloud in that room. Chloe trembles and asks if she can say it at home, only to be firmly told that she disrespected her mother here and must make it right here, and when she finally turns to Laura, her lip quivering, she softly says she's sorry. Guided by the judge to explain why, Chloe breaks down completely, apologizing for saying her dad was better, for embarrassing her mother, and for failing to see how hard she works, insisting through tears that Laura is not a failure but everything, which shatters Laura's composure as she pulls her daughter into her arms while the courtroom watches with tearful eyes and even Officer Daniels looks away. Weeks later they return side by side, smiling, Chloe dressed simply without her orange iPhone, proudly telling Judge Caprio she has completed 32 hours of community service and befriended an elderly woman at Sunset Nursing Home who worked 3 jobs her whole life and reminded her of her mom, saying she finally understands, prompting the judge to nod with quiet pride and tell her she has already served her sentence as the courtroom applauds softly and mother and daughter leave hand in hand, lighter than before, a reminder that sometimes the most powerful verdict isn't punishment, but transformation.